choosing to listen to sleep is just that's almost worse than listening to Green Day. At least you can get through Green Day faster, you know. Like, it's like
you put a sleep song on, it's on for an hour and 10 minutes. Maybe they call themselves sleep because they put people to sleep. Yo, another chorus is coming in another 25 minutes. Just wait, man.
Those bands don't have choruses. What are you talking about? Are you kidding me? Music like that doesn't have a fucking chorus.
It's verse 1 and verse 2.
It just has, you know, it's just because that, Christ.
I live in a paper box. Bing, bing.
Is that a line?
No, that would be the kind of thing one of those songs. I can't afford a house because I play shitty music.
I sleep in the studio, but
What studio? You mean the grandma basement they live?
like us right now, an audio box, a computer, and a fucking microphone.
Yeah, but theirs is under a bridge. Whipping me round, whipping on.
Oh, and welcome to Guys Talking About Stuff with just Josh and Alex today.
Yeah, we're the guys talk about music.
God, I called you Alex. That's so rare.
Yeah,
You're fair. You've been fair since hockey in high school.
Yeah, it's funny. In high school, more people call me Fair than Alex. So
I come here to your house and I call you by your last name, and your
you
parents
come here,
look
you're
at
like,
me.
"Yo, Fair." It's like
Your parents-
that alludes to four of us.
Yeah, your parents look at me like I'm insane. So this specific one is recent. You said recent music we've been just listening to.
Yeah, and it could
lately.
be anything.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Kind of on a roll. In the car on the way to work, I usually have on like 90.1 or WRTI, which is classical and jazz.
Okay.
You know, it's just something just because it's
And
not
what channel's that?
90.1, I think. WRTI, whatever WRTI is. You know, just because it's not like mind-numbingly boring, repetitive pop songs or pop punk or, you know, or anything else. You know, it's good.
It's not a poop genre. You're like, give me some Coltrane in Vivaldi's Four Seasons, and I'm a
There was
happy boy.
Vivaldi on the way here.
Oh, there we go.
A trumpet concerto.
I do love Vivaldi's Four Seasons, though you're not gonna find many people who's like that's stupid. Yeah.
I played the second movement of Winter on guitar
Oh,
for
nice.
a recital. Yeah, it was fun. People like that one.
Oh yeah.
What do you have on your recent listens? What's a fair running in his recents? I have to keep looking through my shit here. I don't know.
I mean, like, very recently, it's been hard for me to not be wanting to listen to Santana.
Really?
I'm listening to a lot of Santana.
Is there a reason for that?
I heard, my dad, he had gotten a rental car from when his car needed some work, and we went out for a drive, and because it was like a step up BMW. My dad's like, whoa, the brand new top of the line BMW. Let's go for a ride.
Step up BMW.
And we went through the XM channels, and on one it was Deep Tracks, and it was Santana's Promise of a Fisherman, and I was like, holy shit, like, oh my gosh. It was 8 minutes of jazz fusion craziness, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I've been like listening through a bunch more. But I mean, I've listened to Santana before. It's just I didn't know he had kind of this period in the 70s where he did a lot of like instrumental jazz fusion stuff, which if you don't know what jazz fusion is, it's like jazz and rock coming together. And it's very similar like prog rock, but I would say it tends to be a little more jazzy. It's definitely more like King Crimson prog than it is, you know, Genesis. Although early Genesis, you could argue a bunch of stuff's jazz. Anyway, I digress. Very cool stuff. And then I was dipping into his Caravan Sarai album. I'm pretty sure it's Caravan Sarai is the title of it. And Barbaroletta, and just a bunch of the other albums in that period, and kind of digging into some of that. And it's been really cool stuff. I'd say that's been really a big one. Jackson Browne, I've listened to. I throw in the Jackson Browne radio thing on the Amazon on when I cut the yard, and it's great because it's such a good balance of different stuff from the 70s. So you're getting, Jackson Browne stuff, but you're also getting like CCR, which I know they're late 60s, early 70s, but getting that in. Heck, even Led Zeppelin came in the mix, but like Billy Joel, Elton John, and some different kinds of things, which that's been cool. And then like James Taylor was in that playlist too, and that was good. So that takes out a whole lot of stuff. How about you? What's something?
Well, I mean, I'm usually you can usually hear Metallica from the other room. There's a lot of Metallica, a lot of Motorhead. The occasional Sabbath and Judas Priest. I like to play Sabbath actually when I'm playing like games, like just like as background stuff. Like Left 4 Dead is really fun with like I don't know, just any of the old Sabbath. Usually Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, or like even 13. I've done with it before. Okay. That usually comes on. Yeah, Motorhead and all that. Like. I haven't listened to it in a while, but for a big thing there, I had Aerial Boundaries by Michael Hedges. It was a big one that I loved there because if you've heard that album, right?
I don't know if I have.
Aerial Boundaries by Michael Hedges. Oh, dude, you got to do that. You got to do that one. It's great. That's like a chill album. That's like a kickback sort of album. It's one of my favorite just listens.
Okay.
Of course, I'll always still throw on Alice in Chains and Tom Petty.
Oh, yeah.
Like those are some big, like, current, just like longevity listens. Some Anthrax. I was kind of giving Among the Living a second chance a little bit.
Wait, you don't like Among the Living?
No, it's not that I don't like it. I don't like it as much as Spreading the Disease.
Okay.
Everyone says it's their best album, but I don't feel that way. I don't think it's their best album. I think Spreading the Disease is way better.
Oh, wow.
We could talk about that at some point, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of, just the album as a whole, I don't know. It just is what it is, I prefer Spreading the Disease as a thrash album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's... Spreading the Disease, I think, is probably more straight thrash. Among the Living has a little bit of punk rubbed on it.
Like that. I don't like that one song, NFL.
Okay.
If they say it backwards. I don't even know how to say. I can't even fucking pronounce it. Like I think that's kind of a dumb song.
Yeah.
Not big on that one. I like to throw on Maiden occasionally too, and just throwing a Maiden album every now and again, just cause. I go in and out of really wanting to listen to them and like wanting to listen to other things, but they pop in every now and again. They're always a good thing to like bring back.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't listened to them in a while, I'm going to see them in July with Jess as long as she can get off work and all that, and I can get off work. We have nosebleeds, but it's Iron Maiden, so who cares? Still a Maiden concert, and unlike Metallica and Slayer, I'm actually going to be able to hear them and not bring earplugs.
Yeah.
Those are so loud, and it's just. Ugh, it's impossible to hear anything. Your ears just distort and shake the whole time. It's nuts.
Yeah, at what, Iron Maiden? Or
no, at Metallica and Slayer. They're just the sound guys just crank everything and just compress the crap out of it, so you can't hear. It's just guitars are just the whole time. And you're in the front. I had floors for both of them. I was front mosh pit. Mosh pit place for Slayer, and I was floor seats. Standing place in Wells Fargo for Metallica. They were great shows, but man, volume. I had earplugs, and thank God, because I had really been listening to a little more Pantera up at school when I was just walking around because I bought their live album, the 101 Live Proof,
Yeah.
because it has this version of This Love on it that is just abso-fucking-lutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phil's big like screams in that song are just so nuts. I don't know. I kind of been. I don't know. Like I like Pantera, but I don't like them all the time.
Yeah.
You know? Does that make sense?
I listen to them pretty much singularly when I'm doing weights. Like,
Yeah.
if I'm going to do weight stuff, like, it's hard to beat Pantera. They're like the ultimate band. But anytime else, I'm never like, you know what? I want to shove my head through a wall listening to Pantera, you know?
Yeah, I don't really get that much of an impression from him. I guess I don't know. That's just never really been. You know, I understand why. Of course, it's nutso music, but like I like shit like that. Like I love vulgar everything on Vulgar Display. I can just listen to it, just be like, yeah, this is great.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but yeah, I'm really big into the 91 Moscow version of Domination. That's the heaviest breakdown in metal history is in that song. That version, just nuts. No, not that one. The dun 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 dun. The drums are just doing that like 1, 2, yeah. But it's like that's like the heaviest one ever. Megadeth comes up every now and again for me. I'm not. I find myself very rarely like just putting on a Megadeth album and just going straight through with it. I tend to that tends to be one of those bands I kind of pick a little more at just from time to time. But like they're good.
Yo, Metallica
Yeah,
alert.
right.
Metallica fan alert. No.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have a preference, and my preference is wrong. God forbid. Right?
Oh.
When I was coming back, I listened to "Screaming for Vengeance" by Judas Priest at one point when I was going back to school.
That's great.
That's one album that I forget how good it is
Oh, yeah.
until I give it a full listen again. I'm like, oh my gosh, this album is so fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah, no, that was kind of like Judas Priest in that sweet spot of like 78 to 82. Nothing they could do they couldn't do anything wrong. They're like, we're
Yeah.
inventing heavy metal.
Yeah.
And we're making it damn good, And they really freaking nailed everything in that time.
What
And,
albums were there in that time? Do you know off the top of your head?
Well, Stained Class, the one live one in Japan.
Oh yeah, that's a biggie.
British Steel,
Oof.
Point of Entry, and Screaming for Vengeance. Point of Entry doesn't get enough love, but it has Heading Out to the Highway on it, which is enough for it to be saved as an album. You're like, there's one amazing song on it. I can't remember what else is on it, but no, Point of Entry is always one where I was like, oh no, there's some good stuff on Point of Entry. It's just. It didn't do so well because it was wedged between British Steel and Screaming for Vengeance, But then,
I mean, that's
yeah,
if you got those two, it's okay to lose one album for those two.
Yeah.
You have those two. That's still doing pretty damn good, I'd say.
Yeah, and then even afterward, like Defenders of the Faith, still good. And, Turbo, I'm your Turbo.
I need more
lover.
Priest. I
Yeah.
don't have a whole lot of Priest. I need more. I want to get way more into them.
You gotta do Turbo.
I got into Firepower a good bit.
Just watch the music video for Turbo Lover, and you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. You need to.
I'm worried.
It's actually pretty awesome and cool in like a very 80s way.
Oh boy.
No,
80s
it's interesting.
Videos. Jeez.
But yeah, no. So I do suggest that one. There's blah blah blah. Yeah, no, my favorite song, blah 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 by blah blah blah. No,
Right, of course, yeah.
catchy chorus.
Steely
man.
Dan will come up every now and again for me.
Okay, I can dig.
It's like that's more of a home, easy listening thing rather than an on-the-go thing. But every now and again, I'll throw on like Asia if I'm in a really long car ride. Asia will
Heat of
come
the
up or
moment.
something like that.
No, I'm
Oh,
just,
you fucker! Good band.
I do like Asia.
I like them too.
Heat of the moment.
Yeah, I think I said already. Tom Petty comes up.
Yeah,
Every
I
now and
mean,
again,
I'll throw WMGK on.
Oh, okay.
So 102.9, and I'll jam to a bunch of whatever they throw on. And it's always a steady diet of Tom Petty, Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, Elton John, Billy Joel.
I don't find myself going out of my way to listen to Zeppelin a lot. Wow. You know, like it'll happen every now and again, but like I don't find myself like on a walk and just be like, I want to listen to like all of Physical Graffiti right now. You know what I mean? Like that's not me saying like it's bad, but like I don't know. They're one of those bands that I never got so into that I like I said, will go out of my way to listen to them versus other bands. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I don't know. That's just been always
That's
kind of my thing.
crazy.
Really?
Wow, if Kevin was here, he would
Oh yeah, he's a huge.
get you.
He's a Zeppy fan. He would get me.
He's a Zeppy fan. Yeah.
Do you listen to Zeppy a lot?
I mean, I listen to Zeppelin quite a bit. I mean, they get thrown on MGK all the time, but I mean, I will go out of my way. I mean, Zeppelin 2 is hard to top in terms of like just an album, a hard rock album that solid from start to finish. I mean, I don't really know that there's too many hard rock albums I'd put against Zeppelin 2. And Zeppelin 3 has some great acoustic stuff.
I love Zepp 3, man.
And that's got Since I've Been Loving You and
that song,
Immigrant Song.
was just like I heard that
Oh, yeah.
like as a like young like blues loving guitar player like just and I was like I heard that thing and I was like, yo, what is this?
Yo, Jimmy Page is like,
It's
yeah.
like woof. Okay.
You know, it's so funny, but I brought it up to somebody one time and I was like, you know, if I were to do a top 100 guitar solos of all time, Dave Gilmour and Jimmy Page would have to take up like at least a third of it. You know, it's like it's not fair. But it's like, yeah, no, they both have quite a bit to pick from. And Since I've Been Loving You, I mean that whole
I had a hankering for listening. I really wanted to listen to "Dogs" today by Floyd.
Ooh.
I thought about it. I don't know what was going on. I think I was at work and I was just doing something for some reason. I just started hearing like the sound effect on the dog barking in it, but then Page's solo in there. That's really, really fucking interesting.
Oh yeah.
I like that guitar solo. Floyd is usually like Floyd's another one of those bands where like again, if I'm doing something, it's not. Like if I'm like that's like a long car ride or like a chill at the end of the day kind of thing. You know, like if I'm out, like if I'm walking, I'm usually listening to something that's active and like I don't want to say that and say Floyd doesn't have active stuff, but like you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Floyd's more chill. You know, Animals is chill, and Wish is chill. Dark Side, like I set aside like time to just give Dark Side a proper like. Full start to finish listen. I don't like I don't drop a needle on that and just go, I want to listen to just this one song. That's one of those whole album listens for me. That and
Sgt. Pepper.
Oh, Sgt. Pepper's is my big. That's like I don't listen to that album very often to keep it like special, but like yeah, when it's been like rough lately and I need to just that gets an hour of just my full focus and attention. It's worth it every single time. It always feels like we could talk about this sometime, like albums that like do this, but like that's one of those albums where, like every time I listen to it, I feel like I'm listening to it for the first time, and it's just it's so unbelievable.
I mean, I've had periods where I put Sgt. Pepper's, my CD I have of it, in the car, and I'll just let it play through all the way, and just like I'll notice weeks go by, and I'm like, I haven't changed my CD. You know?
Yeah.
I've done that, and I also did that with Van Morrison's Moondance. I did that with that. So
yeah, you're a Van Morrison fan.
yeah, I've listened to a lot of his stuff.
My buddy Joel's a big Van Morrison fan. He likes a lot of. It's funny. His range is so wide because he loves Velvet Underground. He loves Lou Reed. He loves Jim Morrison. You know, but then he also loves Floyd, Zeppelin. A little bit of Rush, Maiden, AC/DC. Like he has such a wide range of stuff, you know.
That's good though.
Yeah, no, it is. It is definitely good.
Because it's funny when people have very kind of narrow-minded opinions on stuff. They kind of, I don't know. They don't really get to experience a bigger spectrum of things, and I think that's kind of sad. You know, because they're like, oh, there's only like 3 good things ever. There's only 3 good albums ever. You know, it's like
sometimes I worry that I get to that point because I'll find myself, like I said, I find myself listening to like one very specific like type of music for like a while. It's not because I don't like other stuff. It's just I find myself like on a huge like thrash metal streak for like a while, or then like a hard rock borderline heavy metal, so like Motorhead for like a while, you know, and then I'll come back and one day I'll just be like, I want to listen to Wildflowers by Tom Petty, you know, just for no reason, you know. It's such a I'm one of those kind of people, like if I'm in the car and it goes from like Fight Fire with Fire to like Refugee by Tom Petty, I'm totally cool with that. I'm like, yeah, let's go. You know, you get 2 different kinds of from that, and I love both of them. I dig it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mike at work, he plays music through that speaker he's got in the middle of the day, and it's always like I swear to God, every day Rage Against the Machine comes on. He's always like, man, this guy's angry about something. He's like, Sean, what's the lead guy's name? What's his singer's name?
Oh,
Henry?
Possibly.
Is it? He's like, Henry's angry about something again. And like, he always makes joke, but like, there's always the one day there was like 15 Alice in Chains songs, and I was, like he just has like a shuffle playlist of stuff he has, and I'm like, all right, thank God, you know, like an Alice in Chains fan, you know.
Yeah.
And then like something like Rage Against the Machines will come on, and then like ragtime jazz piano will come on. And it's so interesting because like I'm totally cool with that. You know, like I could listen to that stuff like just on the back. Like I wouldn't sit down and like just sit there and just listen intently to something like that. You know, the only kind of stuff I could do that with is very certain classical stuff like Piano Sonata 15 by Beethoven or Funeral March by Chopin. I could all day. You know, I could sit down and listen to that kind of stuff any day. I do find myself putting on Evan Hershelman. You don't really know who he is. He's a modern classical guitarist. He wrote some of the pieces I played last semester. Modern classical guitarist, and mixes a lot of genres in with it. I find myself putting his album on every now and again just because, and just to remind myself that I'll never play the stuff as good as he does. Yeah.
I do definitely make a point to listen to classical and jazz. I feel like, you know, they're very opposite genres, but they have a lot in common. Their fans hate each other. Like classical fans hate jazz fans, and jazz fans hate classical fans. Each of them thinks the other one's pretentious and full of themselves. But it's just this funny thing where
they're kind of both pretentious and full.
Well, yeah, because they're both calling the other person a self-centered asshat.
Yeah.
And it's just funny that it's like you're complaining about the other person about the same exact things as you, like, and it's stuff where, and then people who aren't fans of either will point at both of them and say stuff, and it's like, you know, guys, if you were just nicer to each other, maybe the ecosystem would be much better for everybody, because first of all, you wouldn't be hating on each other, maybe you'd be appreciating each other's things, but you'd also might be able to get other people interested, because then they're not like, well, jazz fans are so secluded, or classical fans only like going to operas or whatever. You know,
it's funny you say all that, because like coming from like Mansfield, you know, where it's like the two genres are like always in the room, you know, and like there's always something like that going on.
Yeah.
You know, there's really never been like a juke 'em out, like back and forth kind of thing with that, you know, like it's always been, I don't know, there's never really been like the headbutting with that kind of thing. I don't know, maybe it's just because it's the environment and it's like a school for music, so like you kind of, you know, like you can hate one area. Like it's kind of funny, most people hate a lot of like classical vocal stuff, like specifically like classical vocal shit. That's like what's universally like hated around the school, like even by vocal stuff. They're like, yeah, it's gonna be vocal problems, it's gonna be boring, you know, because it's kind of just, I don't know. There's some, you know, and it depends on the performer, I think, because we have some performers that can just, you know, make a room go nuts. And then you have some people you go then you're just like, oh my god, vocal rep, you know.
Yeah.
Well, like everyone loves saxophones, everyone loves
Oh, yeah.
guitar studio, everyone loves like, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, every now and again you get a good piano sonata up there that people love, you know, which is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Friend Maddie played some Beethoven, and my friend Lauren played some Chopin, and I was like, yes, like that's,
yeah.
I could do that all day, man. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I've never really been around much of the. I see what you mean though with the back and forth of, you know, hatred of classical and that with each other, you know.
Yeah, it's just something I never really. I mean, I think the big difference is classical is very structured. It's very much this is what you're doing and this is where you're doing it. Come back to this point, attack this point. This is our idea. Whereas jazz is like, I'm gonna go over here, and I'm dancing over here. How are you?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there is very structured jazz out there.
Oh,
but, like,
yeah.
and there is a lot of rule breaking classical out there. You know, like
Oh,
there you gotta look for it, but like you can find it. I don't know. Like I sometimes there's some jazz that I just can't do. Like I guess I do like some. I do prefer music that has at least somewhat structure to it. You know, like free jazz, like improv stuff. By all means, you know, tear it up. But like when you get into like the really atonal, like just kind of, I don't even know what to call it. Like just the really atonal jazz, but also like the 12-tone classical, that never really did it for me. You know, atonal stuff never really did it for me as a whole. Like, and now I know the theory of it and I respect it, but that doesn't mean I love it.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Now, what's an example of atonal jazz? Like who?
I don't know. Like, I don't even know. Well, because I don't listen to it, you know?
Yeah.
But, like, I have a recording of something in here that, like, I got with this HD Tracks. When you, like, sign up or you buy something the first time or something like that, there's, like, a free album on there that's, like, a sample of, like, high-res music, you know, and, like, a good bit quality or whatever. And there's one that just is, it's kind of an atonal jazz track, and, like, I can hang with it, but, like, you know, it's so very, like, it's got a lot of very random, like, entrances and stuff like that. Like, that's totally fine, but, like, there's a continuous, you know, atonal bass line going on the whole time, and I'm just never like, ooh, it's so theory interesting, you know, like, it's, I don't know, that doesn't do it for me as much as like Miles Davis
Okay. Yeah,
does, you know, and certain things like that. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, Miles Davis, you know, but like,
I mean, it's always funny.
you know what I'm trying to say though, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not saying that Miles Davis was like perfectly structured and wrote everything out to a T and only did the you know, like a classical. I'm not saying that at all. But there's just, I don't know, it's just that kind of like Miles Davis kind of jazz, Wes Montgomery, Django Reinhardt kind of jazz. I love that shit. You know,
Oh,
that's where I am with
I mean,
jazz.
I have so many Miles Davis records, and like I still don't have, like, his discography is insane when you look through like all the stuff
Yeah.
he did. It's like,
yeah.
well, he produced records regularly from like before the 50s till his death in 1991. So there's a lot to go through, and there's some years in there where you're looking, it's like in like 1955 he released like 12 albums or something. Like, it's just like outrageous. He's like, I had all these different sessions and this is what all came out of it. It's like, and then he also freaking reinvented the genre multiple times. I mean, I love his really crazy shit like Bitches Brew and that. I mean,
Yeah, you
but-
said Bitches Brews your favorite,
oh
right?
yeah, but I mean, I'm absolutely not gonna knock anybody for saying Kind of Blues their favorite. I mean, it's fantastic.
I love Kind of Blue, and for reasons I can't understand, I love In a Silent Way.
Oh yeah,
I don't know, man. Something, maybe it's because I paid a lot of money for the like 192.24 file of it.
yeah.
But like, I just love that. And you know, when we're thinking about talking about like structure and whatnot, like in classical, I love Beethoven,
oh yeah.
Chopin, Vivaldi. it would be more difficult for me to sit down and listen to a Bach cello suite than it would be a Beethoven piano sonata. You know, I don't know. And I played Bach. I played part of a cello suite once. I was bored. You know, like it was just, it was, to me, I was just, it's like, you know, Bach's one of those, everyone who learns Bach, it's like, you never learn Bach. You just live with it for a really long time. You just have to live with it for a long time to like memorize it and like have it. And it's so hard. You know, and I have the utmost in respect for it, but like, man, you know, I just, I don't know, man. It never, I prefer Beethoven.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer Beethoven. I prefer Chopin, you know. More stuff like that. You know, that's where I am with classical stuff. Anyway, I don't know what classical you prefer. You're a Beethoven guy, though.
Oh, yeah.
You like a lot of Beethoven.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I listen to a lot of different things. I mean, I listen to soundtracks and all kinds of stuff. And, you know, people always... I mean, I'll say, "Oh, who do you like? You know, who do you like for classical?" And there's times where I get like people to respond. They're like, "Oh, John Williams," and I'm like, "I absolutely accept John Williams."
Yeah, no, by all means,
classical. And I mean, it's hard to complain when like the dude's written so much that is so iconic. I mean, Star Wars, Indiana Jones. I mean, the dude has Star Wars and Indiana Jones under his belt. Anything on top of that's a bonus.
Yeah,
Add
like
E.T.
You're good.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Really?
I mean, Jaws.
Wow.
I mean, you start going through, it's like, shit. And it's like,
really.
that's only scratching the surface. And then you start going through it, it's like, well, shit. Well, he even did, I'm trying to think of something that'd be a little bit more obscure for John Williams. I mean, just, well, give me 1 sec.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, John Williams has done everything. You just go on IMDb, you type in John Williams, and it's like a lot for his disc.
Yeah, no, he's got a wide range of it.
Yeah, I mean, you've got...
you know, it's funny. You're one of the only few people that's not true. You're one of the few people I like talk to on a regular basis that listens to soundtracks.
Yeah.
I know a lot of music majors that I know a lot of vocal majors that listen to like musicals. I don't do that at all. I don't listen to or watch musicals or anything at all. That's not my thing. But then I do know like a lot of orchestra people that typically, of course, you know, will like listen to film scores and stuff like that. Like that's all cool, but like I don't know, for me that's just not, I've never been big into doing that. You know, and I'm totally fine if you do. But like woof. I don't know. I just that was never a me. That was never a me thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, got no problem with it. I don't know. It wasn't much of my thing. I could do it. I totally could if I like had something like really good to listen to. You know.
I mean, the
Totally
Drive
do it.
soundtrack's pretty crazy good, but you
Yeah.
have to be into that kind of retro. Like it feels like it's 80s, but it's not. But it's like its own thing. It's very moody, and I really like the soundtrack. Even because there's like song selections on it that are really good that fit the movie well, but are also just they're good. And then there's the composer's work, and Cliff Martinez does a lot of really interesting stuff with synths, and I really like a lot of his stuff. I do listen to a lot of his things. He works with Nicholas Winding Refn a lot. So Drive, Neon Demon, Only God Forgives, and a bunch of other ones of his. I also love a band called Goblin. I'm listening to that quite a bit, and they're
I don't know that band.
Italian prog band.
Ooh, interesting.
They're very take Pink Floyd, mix them with Genesis and King Crimson, and then make them a little crazier.
Huh.
Yeah, it's good.
But is it typical prog rock kind of stuff? Like it's like just difficult. Like is it? Because like, there's two kinds of prog rock. Then you know, there's like prog rock that's just how long and difficult can we make this, and then there's like prog but with like heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I would definitely say they probably fall into the second one. I would say they're kind of I mean, they're very much about creating moods because, I mean, when you're dealing with movies, it's very important to nail that kind of stuff.
You should send me the name, like, or like send me a song of theirs. I want to remember to check them out 'cause
All right,
it sounds interesting.
Yeah. I'm writing that down now. But yeah, go look at their John Williams things. He did the Superman soundtrack. I mean, that's iconic.
They did the what?
Superman,
Oh.
78, the classic. Let's see. Any surprises in here? I mean, a lot of Spielberg stuff. Witches of Eastwick, Born on the 4th of July. Home Alone, that was John Williams. I mean, that's iconic.
Right.
JFK, Hook, Home Alone 2, Schindler's List, Jurassic Park. Yeah, as I said, a lot of Spielberg. Yeah, I mean, if it was Spielberg and it's Saving Private Ryan. I mean, which you want to talk about? Oh, what a terrible movie, right?
God, don't even
so
joke
overrated.
about it.
No, I'm joking.
Joke about it.
Saving Private Ryan is one of those movies like I couldn't shit on if I tried. Like I'd be like, yo, what's wrong with Saving Private Ryan? I got nothing. Got nothing.
We should watch it and talk about it sometime on this.
Oh yeah, no.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to hear us talk about Saving Private Ryan.
He did The Patriot with Mel Gibson. He did that soundtrack. Harry Potter.
We're kind of way off course here a little bit.
But I mean, just think about that. You've seen these movies. I mean, you've
Yeah.
heard John Williams everywhere. You cannot escape the man.
It's funny. There's John Williams. Like, then there's like John Williams, the guitarist,
Yeah.
and like I almost
Very
learned
different.
Yeah, very different, but like also really fucking good. You know, both. I don't know if you've listened to it at all. The John Williams guitarist.
If not, at the record store, the guy put something on with him on it because I was like, oh, John Williams. I'm like, oh, I didn't know he was doing this. And then he put it on. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Wow.
But
I
learned there was a John Williams guitar player that day.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really good. I was gonna learn a piece from him one time. I don't even remember what fucking piece it was. I have it somewhere. I think in my iTunes. I should go back and learn it just for fun. It's a nice, calm little piece. You know, nothing terribly complicated.
I listened to John Coltrane's Giant Steps the other day.
You put some Coltrane on. Okay.
Yeah, that
Cool.
was a fantastic album.
Don't know a lot about Coltrane.
Yeah.
But,
I had seen a
Open to
video about Giant Steps the other day, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to it. And I was like, oh, yeah. And it's really the best thing about the title track is he does it's kind of simple. You know, it's going through the 2-5-1 jazz progression.
yeah.
But he's changing between 3 keys. And they're very different keys. It's like a triangle effect kind of working on it. And he's just like seamlessly soloing over it. It's just
Yeah,
like,
well, you know.
it's like, well, it's like, oh shit.
Woof. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have heard a lot of Coltrane on like a lot of the Miles Davis records and stuff when he was playing with him. But he left, and then he had a pretty short career, sadly, because he died very young.
How old was he?
John Coltrane, probably early 30s, I'd put money on.
Oh, really? Sucks.
Yeah.
What did he die of?
Do
you know off the top of your head?
He died at 40.
Oh, he died at 40. Okay.
Okay.